Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be discussing Thor, Love and Thunder, as well as why I think Phase 4 is the best phase in the entire MCU. So let's get into it. Before going into this video, I'm just going to let you know right now that this review will discuss full spoilers for Thor, Love and Thunder, so be warned if you haven't seen that film yet.
Spoiler alert.
So I've seen a lot of divisiveness around this film and I'm honestly a little surprised. As someone who isn't crazy about Thor movies, I thought this was absolutely brilliant. I couldn't quite see what everyone else did with Thor Ragnarok. While I have grown to like that movie, I'm still not crazy about it. With Love and Thunder, I just felt like this was just so much fun.
This is where the fun begins.
I feel like a big discussion point around this film was that Taika Waititi couldn't manage to balance the goofy comedy with the serious themes that the film presents. I could not disagree more with that sentiment. I actually think Love and Thunder managed to do that better than what Ragnarok did, because the combination felt like it was going for full comedy and then it would go into full drama, and I think that worked really well, committing to both.
Works like a charm.
I think as one criticism for this movie, the comedy didn't fully work all the time. For example, I wasn't a fan of the joke where Jane sees Tessa Thompson holding something and she thinks it's a grenade, but it was just a speaker. I didn't think a single person in my screening actually laughed at that joke. And there was a slight pause in the dialogue that was supposed to be for audience laughter, and it just felt a little awkward overall.
You made a joke?
I did. It was stupid.
I mean, other than that, I had so much fun with the humor here. Taika Waititi is just one of the best directors when it comes to comedy. I've seen all his films, and all of them have made me laugh at least once. I love the joke about the goats screaming and crashing into planets, and I thought the goofy love triangle between Mjolnir, Thor, and Stormbreaker was great and made these inanimate objects feel like characters in this film. I think the drama in this really works. Waititi has been great in this aspect throughout his whole filmography, with his Oscar-winning Jojo Rabbit being one of the best examples of blending his wacky style of humor with heavy drama. Thor Love and Thunder does this as well. Jane has cancer in this film and she is dying and is desperate to be rid of it, and the film alludes that Mjolnir may be able to do that. Instead, it just starts killing her more. I loved her as Mighty Thor, which I was quite surprised about, as the trailer just didn't leave me all that excited about her being that character. Deciding to let her actually die rather than choosing to save her at the end was an excellent thing to do for the film's quality. While I do like Jane in this movie, I am so sick of characters dying just to come back again, and Marvel has been one of the worst catalysts when it comes to that trope. The death was heavy and made this end feel really strong. It gives Thor even more to grasp with, making him feel more human and relatable. Waititi opted to make their relationship feel a lot more realistic. When it shows how their relationship ended, it feels more like a natural breakup. Thor feels like more of a real-world character who just happens to be a god, which is something I'd never seen before in the previous MCU films. While he has been in situations that have made him feel vulnerable or upset, the comedy was never balanced that well and made him feel sort of like a sociopath. Love and Thunder doesn't really do that. Even though there is comedy and goofy moments from Thor himself, I think the stuff that really bothers him, like Jane's condition, it weighs on him, and the film feels a lot better because of it. This leads me to the performances, which are really great. I thought nearly everyone added something to this. The film is full of life and energy, and the ensemble helped push that even further. As with the characters, the performances from Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman are excellent and are probably their best performances in the whole MCU. I think they're given a lot more to do here and are able to be a little more creative with their performances, and I love it. Taika Waititi is great as Korg. I do feel like if he is given too much screen time, he could be like Mater in Cars 2. He is funny in the first Cars, but when you make the character the focal point, they get annoying really quickly, and I felt like Thor Love and Thunder towed that line. Tessa Thompson is solid as Valkyrie. It wasn't my favorite performance, and I don't think she's given a whole lot to do, but she does a solid job with what she has. Smaller performances like Russell Crowe as Zeus was great, and it feels like a parody of this god, but at the same time, If Zeus was real, he would probably act like how he was portrayed here. I love the sequence involving him, and the battle scene leading to Zeus's death was really badass.
It's so badass.
Now, we also have the antagonist, Gore the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale. He is an excellent actor and hasn't really given a bad performance in a while, if ever, and he continues to be great here. I feel like Gore is one of the better villains in the whole MCU. His design is terrifying, and I have to give credit to the combination of makeup and visual effects used on him. Gore feels so much more sinister. He is willing to sacrifice children just to get to Thor, and the scene where he is terrorizing them was really well handled.
Listen, I like kids.
While he is evil, I love how you can see why he is doing what he is. Having a god not really care about him or his dead daughter being the justification for his evil turn was nice, and when you realize all he cares about is bringing his daughter back, brought a lot of humanity to him, and I like that. I do think there should have been a little more time with him, especially with his evil turn. I like the idea of why he turned, but I would have preferred if it was a series of events rather than just the one moment, which would have really hammered home why he is so evil. On a technical note, this is probably the best MCU film. It is not often that I'll say this, but an MCU film was shot really, really well. The use of color enhanced the excellent lighting so much. There is even an instance where the film goes full black and white when they fight Gore. This was probably the best sequence in the whole film, and it looked absolutely outstanding. There are moments where the sparks from Mighty Thor's hammer give small instances of color, and it just made this look that much better, and it's unlike anything in the entire MCU.
It is quite beautiful.
Now, the other part to this video is why I think Phase 4 is the best in the entire MCU. I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but I do feel like a lot of the criticisms for this phase are the reasons I love it so much. Each film feels more like a little standalone film rather than being a part of a giant universe, and because of that, each film can stand on its own and do something special and unique. Both this and Doctor Strange are just so much different to what came before, and I like that. I'm so sick of basically seeing the same movie with a different set of characters. It has gotten really boring, and honestly, I think that's what the MCU was becoming. One of the biggest criticisms I've seen for Phase 4 is that it feels directionless, and no one knows where it's going. I just think that makes this feel leagues better. I don't want to predict what is going to happen. I like going to a film and letting it unfold and getting surprised. Even though I liked Endgame, by the time that film rolled around, I liked a lot of its execution, but a lot of the major plot points I could see happening way before it even released.
The story is too predictable.
It was kind of obvious to me that Iron Man was going to die, and so was Thanos. We knew we were going to get plenty of fan service, and we knew that all the characters were going to come back after being snapped. With Phase 4, every film feels like a delightful surprise and actually deviates from the tired old MCU formula. I'm getting more excited for Marvel films compared to what I was before, and I've been enjoying what's happening. I felt like in Thor Ragnarok, Taika Waititi was just held back a little so that the film could fit the formula and work on setting up another movie. In Love and Thunder, it felt like he was just let off the leash, and while this isn't a perfect movie, like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness wasn't a perfect movie, they both feel a little more distinct, and I really appreciate that. Overall, while I think Iron Man is the best MCU movie, I think Thor Love and Thunder has replaced Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness as my second favorite MCU film. It was fun, the performances were great, and I felt like this had so much energy that made the 2-hour runtime just fly by. I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5 because of how much fun I had watching this. I wouldn't at all be annoyed rewatching this, and I think it confirms that Phase 4 is the best in the entire MCU. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'd like to know what you think about the state of the MCU right now, as well as your thoughts on this film. Let me know down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.